Page 44, Minuet and Trio. Page 44 we get the minuet, and on page 45 we get the trio. Normally the trio is connected to the minuet with a double bar line. Remember I said earlier in a video that the double bar line just separates sections of music, because you can have sections of music like you have chapters in a book. And the trio would simply, you'd put a double bar line and you go straight into the trio. There wouldn't be any break or anything. It's not a separate piece. In this book, the way they're doing it, it's a separate piece. But I'm going to cover both of them in this video. To me, it's one piece. So, 3/4 time, obviously it's a minuet. 3/4 time has a pickup beat. So we start on beat 3. And we have these staccatos. The melody is in the right hand. You're going to bring out the melody. So it's 3, 1. And I recommend a wrist staccato here because you're doing it in both hands. Just keep them the same. And that is not note-wise. Hopefully you can get it. As I said, when you first learn a piece, you forget the rhythm and all that and just focus on the notes. Can you get the right notes? Make sure you get these notes right, and once you got the notes all figured out and you're good there, and then you go back and add the rhythm, make sure that you're counting them correctly. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and get that all worked out. Then you can go back and maybe add the articulation, which I did that time, and the dynamics and the other stuff, whatever the other stuff is, and you build it up gradually. One hand at a time, then you put the hands together, because in the left hand, again, wrist staccato. Try and get to where you can do that without looking at the keyboard. So here. Then in the second line, it's smooth, connected. We have contrast. I haven't talked about contrast in music, but just briefly, contrast is when you do something that's different than you were doing. And we like contrast in music. We wish the rock and roll people writing songs today would add a little contrast to their music, because when they do it, it's just all the same throughout anymore. Ugh. Here, the first line is kind of choppy. And then the second line is smooth. That's nice. And then we go back to choppy at the top of page 45 and then smooth for the other line. And that's pretty much the minuet. Now, the trio, we're going to go straight into it. When we do the play with me, there's no break. We finish the 2 beats on the minuet and go right into the trio. It's going to be beat 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we have eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 1 and 2. We do the trio like that. That's the way it works. Now, if you look at the end of the trio, underneath, you see DC Minuet al Fine. And this fancy, it's important. DC means go back to the beginning. And the beginning we're talking about, they're saying minuet. Go back to the beginning of the minuet. Go all the way back to the page 44 at the beginning. And go to Fine. And the fine is at the end of the second line on page 45, the end of the minuet. In other words, we're going to go back and do the minuet part again. But the whole thing, Minuet and Trio, is really one piece of music. I don't like that they've separated on page 45 in the music. They separated the minuet from the trio. I wish they'd have just left it together and they could put a little note about this is the trio or something, because really this is all one piece of music. So that's about it. Now, the trio is repeated. There's a repeat sign, and when you repeat it, you're going to go back to the beginning of the trio. It's not technically correct, but that's what they want to do, so that's what we're going to do. And the dynamics for the trio, you see the F-P? We've had this before. It simply means the first time you play the trio, you're going to play it loud. F is forte, loud. Then when you repeat it and play it again, you're going to play it soft. P for piano, so it's soft. Then go back to page 44. Let's look at these hairpins. So we're going to get louder as we go through. We're starting out medium loud, so now we're just going to go up to loud. There's not a lot of difference between medium loud and loud. Just a little bit, so just go up to here. Music wants to flow. It's got to feel like it's flowing, it's moving in a horizontal direction. And this helps it to do that. You're going up to here. And then come back down before you crescendo again. Don't crescendo from where you are. And now you come all the way down to piano and stay there. And then you're back up to medium loud. Top of page 45, you do it again. Only the left hand has got it. And it's here. That's what we want to hear. That's where you're getting louder there. Go down to here. And then come down again, because you're going to crescendo again. Now we're soft, and that's the melody that's soft. That's in the right hand, so the left hand has to be really soft. Go straight into the trio. The right hand has the melody. That's what the dynamic applies to. We're loud the first time. And then when you repeat it, you're going to be soft for the melody, so the left hand has to be really soft. So the dynamics add so much to it. Please put those in. They're important. Now, there's a note on the trio, at the beginning of the trio. Play the right hand 1 octave higher the second time around. I didn't do that, so let's check this out. It's written here. Then when we repeat it, they want the right hand to go up here. Leave the left hand where it is. This helps it to be soft, because you can play softer up higher. The problem is the left hand has to be softer than that, so you got to play the left hand really soft. So when you repeat the trio, move the right hand up an octave. But when you do the DC minuet thing and you go back to the beginning of the minuet, that's not an octave higher, so come back down and play it here, like you did the first time. Like so. Let's try this slowly to check the notes and the rhythms. We're going to do the whole thing with the repeats and the DC and the whole bit. You can add the dynamics and speed it up on your own a little later on. I'm going to give us 2 counts because there's a pickup beat. We are in C position here to start. Ready, go.